Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zero to Infinity. Today, it's a very special episode as we wind the year down. Can you believe it's been 18 episodes? When I started this journey, there were times in my life I couldn't even speak to order a meal at a fast food restaurant. And now I'm sharing my voice. I'm getting more comfortable speaking from an authentic place and to talk about themes and share my story of my life that I thought, what, it's too, I don't like what I did, or nobody wants to listen to me. And this journey of sort of transcending self-doubt, fear, anxiety, and stepping into a place where there's a platform in which, hey, somebody might benefit. And if you're hearing this, there might be themes that, wow, I didn't realize this, or I've heard this before a few times, but it didn't really click until now. And I know that for myself, even though I might have seen and read these themes and heard them, hundreds of times. Think about when I was a kid growing up, I go to church, and every time you hear, every year, every 3 years, it's the same scripture, it's the same reading. And each time I hear it, as if, it just flies right over your head. And I'm okay, yeah, that's what it means. And today's theme is about attachment. It's about, we're evaluating the end of a year, reflecting on what we have achieved, and also to prepare what's coming. We like to start afresh and psychologically in the calendar. We want to close things, and maybe look at things that don't serve us at this time, and think about, am I holding on to this just because I just want to hold on to it? And I know many times in my life, I've held on to something, almost creating an illusion around it to convince myself that I needed this, even though deep down I was unhappy, it was not giving me joy, and I was denying myself of looking at the actual truth of it. So, like in this whole work, this is about acknowledging our honest truth in where we're at right now in our lives, in every aspect, whether that be a relationship, whether it be a family member, a partner, relationship at work, whether it be your career, your job, material things, money, collectibles, your house, that's the place you live, your environment, and also physical, your health. Am I attached to, sitting on the couch and eating junk food all day and feeling like it's fine, when if I'm really looking at it, I'm not feeling as alert, I'm not feeling as energetic. What am I holding on to? And so take a tally of all of these aspects in your life and see, are there things that you want to be holding on to that actually you can let go of? And this whole journey is all about surrendering. It's all about deconstructing and actually a letting go. We hear this from all of these other spiritual leaders talking about the present moment. Well, how do we be present? Well, to be present, we must actually psychologically, emotionally, even physically let go of the past as well as our expectation of the future. Because if we're thinking about something in the past or the future, we're not present. So when you're present, even the statement, I'm not present right now, is acknowledging the present. So coming to terms with what is now for you, and really sitting in that space. And because we have so many distractions in our entire lives, it's everywhere. Even now, I found myself in the last little while looking at my phone a lot more, scrolling up in those reels and feeds and nonsense. And like, and then and 10 to 15 minutes later, I'm like, what am I doing? Well, I wasn't present. I wasn't aware of what I was actually doing. And if I reflect now, what is my motivation? Well, if I deconstruct this, whenever I have some free time, hmm, I never used to be like this. During my free time, I was really at peace. And I would either, take in and the gratitude of where I am. I would look outside. I maybe perhaps read up on a book, but I found myself almost automatically going to this scrolling, watching all these videos, TikTok and things, and people doing pranks, and I'm like, what? If I really look at it, what that does not serve me at all. In fact, it actually I don't feel good about it. So the motivation of this, what don't I want? Is there something about staying still, doing nothing, that makes me anxious or makes me want to grasp onto something else? And so a deeper look, a deeper reflection of my life now is, what happens when I'm doing nothing? Am I in the past, year, 2 years, have I been attached to doing and doing and doing, creating a whole new book and creating a whole new company, creating a whole method and all of these mindsets and shifts and helping others. And it's easy to get attached to the doing rather than the being. And if you watch the previous episode, Tina talks about this. It's about the being. But what does it mean to be? This is about really acknowledging where you're at. And we have to have an intention and consciously to look at what is serving me. So the other day I was watching a movie, and then I realized something clicked. I'm chasing after, let's say, more money, more followers, more whatever it is. And then it clicked, and I recalled, 10, 15 years ago when I was chasing and chasing and feeling unhappy inside, at my old job as an engineer. And and then when I was doing nothing, I had to fill it, fill it with parties, with people, with doing video games. And so, like, if I'm looking at it, I was avoiding an aspect of myself by focusing outside of me. And we all know the cycle will just repeat. And so here, I had a couple times where I've done this to reevaluate, to say, is it time to look at myself? Is it time? Am I trying to hold on and grasp on for dear life these attachments that I have? And recalling that when I actually closed those doors, when I let go of, having, trying to make money to pay the mortgage and get another car and do all of these things. At the moment, my attachments to material things, I, I was, there was a sense of freedom and there was a sense of peace. And now I'm not saying, like give up everything and, live on the street. But for me, that was the sense of, that holding on, that fear of losing something. And when I fully let go of needing a house and needing this and needing that, I'm like, I have all of this. Why am I still unhappy? So it's not my external circumstances that actually give me happiness, but I'm chasing after it, getting more and more to fill this unhappiness, which of course is a don't want, and I'll never be satisfied. And the minute I decided, what, I want to live my passion, I want to express, I want to cultivate and grow this dream of becoming a musician, a conductor. And I was prepared. Once I let go of everything, I sold my house, I sold pretty much most of the things I own, and I booked the one-way ticket. It was the best decision I've ever made at that point in my life. What was I holding on to? The fact that I don't need anything. I have the most power. And we're conditioned in this society, at school, that's it, you need this, you need a job, you need education, you need this. Like, who tells us what we actually need? And now we're looking at the school system and we're looking at the whole work culture. People aren't even hiring based on degrees anymore. You don't need a degree to actually work at, Google or can, with Elon Musk. Like, they're looking for something more specific. And really, you can have all the knowledge that you learn in school. You could just go to the local library and get it, or you can download it on your phone. So what are the skills? What actually do we need? Right? Do I need a house in order to, help a billion people? Maybe, maybe not. Look at, I could travel as a nomad and wander the streets homeless, but still give love and sit with people who need guidance, who need, something deeper. Am I defined by what I own, what I wear? If you're watching the video right now, or if you're listening right now, I'm dressed up, pretty Christmassy, pretty festive and pretty bright. And does that make up who I am? Well, if I show up, wearing pajamas, does that change who I am? We're often attached to the identity of who we are based on outer things. And so this is a time for me too, to when I'm feeling this, we call this the dark night of the soul. We go through a period of depression, a period of, everything seems different right now. Everything seems like an illusion, that the work is to go within, not out, to go in. And to seek help, having a mentor, having a spiritual mentor, a therapist, a coach, anyone who can help guide you deeper within yourself. In fact, that's what all religions are. They're a tool, a guide to go deeper within to your own divine self. And if you really look at it, and I've sampled, that's what I did for a number of years. I traveled to like over 30 countries. I sampled, I, immersed myself in different religious and spiritual practices of all different types to understand what this journey of life really is about. What is a spiritual journey? And I come to the conclusion that they're all the same. It all leads to one place. It all leads to within the divine. And here we're, like seeing all these conflicts and over so many thousands of years that, between religions, and it's not spiritual at all. It's actually the human ego trying to fight. And it's like, I'm right, you're wrong. You don't believe me, I don't believe you. Well, now we fight until one of us believes each other. And this is never ending. If we can solve that, it comes from within. We pretty much transcend human ego conflict. And that was sort of my mission in doing Heal the Source, because the source of any conflict is within yourself. If you really are able to take that time and say, what's here. But even, in my own life, it's easy to point the finger, point it at family, point it at partner, point it at your job, point it at your boss, point it at, this person, did this, or pointing at, like, we have no control, we have no power once we finger point outside. Once we take responsibility for how we feel, now we have choice. Now we have complete surrender. Like, what? I'm pretty unhappy right now. So, yeah, I need some help. Instead of, what? I should be happy. I don't want to feel unhappy. So let's do this. Let's, drink more. Let's, buy more of these things. And let's go out here. Let's go on my phone and watch these, videos and numb my mind so I don't think about my unhappiness. So once you're able to let go of all of these things, you're just with yourself. Now comes the real journey. Now comes the real work. And yeah, this is the time. If it's the end of the year, it's a perfect time. Is there something you've always wished you were doing, but you think you need this, you need that, you have to hold on to this? Well, I really need this job. If I don't have this job, then how do I pay my bills? But deep down, you have a dream that you've always wanted to, you know, help others, become a coach and a therapist and to help many others. No, I need this. I can't have this. And I know for me, now that I've done it a few times, I like, don't be like, me. How long have you waited? Have you been sitting on this for 5 years, 10 years, just complaining about your job, but you need it? Well, I did that. And, instead of now waiting another 5 years to make a decision, I can make it in 1 and 2. I save so much suffering. I save so much time and energy for myself and everyone around me. You know, why am I denying myself of a truthful life and trying to live one of an illusion, and asking yourself, do you really need it? What if you let it go? You'll find a way. And that's what actually happened to me. I'm trying to hold on for dear life. I was miserable. Like I just, didn't do anything. Things just happened at my job. Right? I did it. Everything was doing, but I was like so disconnected from it. And whether it be your higher self, God, the universe brings you and, okay, well, we need to sit you down in a room when you come in the next morning, and that's it. Here's your package. See ya. And I'm like, oh, as much as it, was devastating, it was like, I needed this all along. I needed to let this go. I just couldn't do it on my own. So what are we now waiting for other people to help our lives? No, take control, decide. Once I decided to book a one-way ticket, my goodness, like I've lived an entire lifetime that I've dreamed of. And think about if I didn't, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. I wouldn't be sharing any of my experiences, save maybe more complaints, more misery. And we're constantly in this process. Things are always changing. Nothing ever stays the same. And so if, hey, you think that, you had a mission and a brand going this way, well, all of a sudden it's 2 years, 3 years in, and you're like, it doesn't fit me anymore. Well, why hold on to it? It's not going to serve you. Let it go and discover something new. What is calling you? And throughout my life, that's what I've been able to do. And that's why, people ask me, how come you've lived 5 lives? Well, because I was able to confront the fear of letting something go that I thought, we think that it's you. You're so attached to it. You're an engineer, you're a therapist, you're a conductor, you're an athlete, you're whatever. No, those are what things. You are not what. You are who. That is the journey. Who am I? So if you're called to go deeper, take the call. And they call it, many are called, but few are chosen. And it's not that outside people choose you. The call has been within. It's you choosing to heed the call. How many people would choose to heed the call of sell everything and go to Berlin, one-way ticket? I heard that. I was like, well, and yeah, I'm gonna do it. This is right. I'm gonna sell everything. I'm prepared to live on the streets, in the park. But that was not what happened. I was prepared to be with nothing, but my dream came true. 2 weeks before I flew, I got the assistant conductor of an opera like shown to me and said, here, and plus the festival in France. I'm like, what? But that's how it works. Beginning to trust that process of sort of letting go of your tiny ego self and stepping in to your true higher self, that we're not governed by all of these concepts that we know. We're actually governed by a much deeper divine aspect. And that has been the guiding principle in my life. And it's something, I don't talk about much, and most people don't talk about. It's like, oh, did you follow these rules? Yeah, that's right. You're courageous. You did this. You did this. No. if you really distill it, it is actually the most human, insane thing anybody can do. Like, if I were to tell you, sell everything and go and follow Jesus. Actually, there are many people who do that, right? But for you to actually do that, you're like, no, I can't do that. I will never do that. Even if the entire, heaven was promised to you, you still probably wouldn't do it, because we're still thinking from a human aspect. So once you're able to transcend that fear of letting go and surrendering, now you're limitless. You're actually thinking as God, as infinity. You can't know the possibilities that will come until you're able to let go of these limitations that you have. And here we go again. Like, some doors need to be closed, whether it be a relationship or job. And here I am looking at my DVD collection that I've had for 20 years, sitting in a shelf. I didn't sell everything. I mean, I kept some things, some things I could just put it all in one car and go. Then I looked, wow, I'm still holding on to something. And I looked, I'm like, when was the last time I even touched that? There's like a layer of dust on it, these, and who watches DVDs anymore? They're actually worthless. I've even tried to look at selling them. And right now I'm just giving it away. I'm like, no, I was telling my family, my brothers, hey, do you want it? If you don't, I'm going to donate it, because it's not serving me. I haven't touched it. You see the show Marie Kondo, how Marie Kondo your life. Does it give you joy? Well, it hasn't given me joy for 10 years. I mean, I haven't even touched it since I've left Berlin, but I'm still holding on to it. And I'm like, yeah. And this process, the minimalist and also the fact that, I was chasing after more, in the last few years, just because I had this mission. But then, Jim Carrey says this, he says, I wish everybody could attain be rich and be famous right now to the absolute highest extent. So they know that it's pointless and that is not actually what you really want. Now, once you've attained it, now you can do your true purpose. And yeah, what could I do? Andrew Tate says the same thing. And he's like, now I'm wealthy. He says, there's nothing to buy. That's why you see all of these rich people, they don't know what to do with their money. Well, I wish they could get to that next phase of achieving something deeper. Once you realize that you have all of this money, material stuff, but you're still missing something, you're like, wait, this is not the path. What am I doing? And you've seen it. Well, I've done it in a sort of way where I was wealthy in my own terms compared to many others, but I wasn't wealthy. It's like, but I gave that up to do a deeper search, because I felt like that was not the path to happiness. So what is happiness? And am I chasing happiness for myself? Wait, that's still not happiness. Is it, something deeper? So this is the next phase, and really inviting you to take a reflection of where you're at in your life. Are there some things you're holding on to? Right? Is there an expectation that you need to achieve something? Or what happens when you let this go? What happens if you don't have a job? Who do you become? Is that the fear? Are we fearing shame? Are we fearing judgment? You get to decide your life. And here I am, making that definition and identity change multiple times, because I'm not defined by, I realize now I'm not what I present outside of me. I'm presenting something much deeper. And that cannot be quantified or even qualified. Like, you can't describe it unless you take that step. So here, then the next, who knows what next year will hold. But I'm trusting that, well, I'm hearing a call, closing these doors. You got to do it. We won't give you this new door. Well, who's not? I'm like, I can't tell you, but that's what I feel. And so stay tuned. Who knows? The next time you hear from me, I'll talk about this new door and all of these other doors I'm closing that, wow, thought, why would you just spent all this time building this and doing this? And it's like, you see, like you build a building, but nobody inside the building is happy. And what's the point? And there's a constant urge to grow and go deeper and cultivate more of what we don't understand, really. We think these material, whatever, guideposts to life are, oh, I checked this off and I should be fine. Well, I've learned already many years ago that doesn't lead anywhere. And I decided I'm not going to hold on to that and try to live it when I already see that it won't end up. Let's follow something completely unknown, completely different, completely new. Yes, it's scary. Well, what's scary about it? What's the worst that could happen? Okay. Yeah, maybe I tent up with some of these people in the streets, but at least I'm conscious of that. I'm conscious of a purpose versus, what I just going to avoid my unhappiness, going to drugs and alcohol and then tent. No, that's completely different. So this is a very exciting time. And it's actually a liberating time once you do this a few times. There's nothing like, and yes, you probably want to look at my closet. There's clothes I haven't worn for 5 years. Why is it still there? Oh, maybe I'll wear it one time, sometime in a party somewhere, or this and that. And how many times have you said that every year? It's like, once you let it go, and yes, it's actually better to donate it, because the energy, if you sell it, you're taking back that energy, and then it stays with you. You truly haven't psychologically, emotionally, even spiritually let go. Once you're completely empty, that's when you can truly see divine within. But that's the most terrifying state to be in. Well, that's the actual zero state. So here, concluding this year with absolute zero on a deeper sense. You call it the spiritual sense, and to allow that infinity to grow and to be met. And that's what it takes. It takes the act of surrender, the act of letting go, surrendering to that little ego, and stepping in and saying, who's defining me? Oh, this ego is defining me. You're a human being. You're a man. You're a entrepreneur. You're a this. You're no, you are. That's it. You are. That's present. That's complete presence. When you can stay in complete presence, infinity. So I want to wish you all, thank you so much for, being a part of this journey, this whole year, listening and sharing. I hope you've gained something from this, and who knows, this will be on, come back to it after a certain time. I know I will, and who knows what is ahead. Whether you celebrate the Christmas season or whatever celebration, the end of the year, wishing you a beautiful, beautiful closing, reflective peace and acknowledgement of everything that you've accomplished. Appreciating the ups and appreciating the downs, the blocks, the successes, the mistakes, and the pivots, the absolute, cloud nine joys, the impossible achievements, and ringing in this new year as you are, to invite infinity. Have an awesome year, and we'll see you again next time.